Hey there, welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and today I'm going to cover sending commands securely to a Raspberry Pi using Meadow Cloud. Full disclosure, I work for Wilderness Labs, who makes Meadow Cloud. But let's get into it. In my last video, I talked about provisioning a Raspberry Pi. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch it because it's required to get to this point. When I've provisioned a device, it will show up in the Meadow Cloud interface, and this is the Raspberry Pi Zero device that I had commissioned. And if you're familiar with the device that I've done in a few other videos, I've got this display, this accelerometer here, and right now I have a Raspberry Pi Zero connected to it. And if I move it around, this ball moves around. What I'd like to do is I'd like to add the ability to send commands to this from a remote location. In this case, we'll just do it through the Meadow Cloud web interface, but you could write an application that uses the same APIs to send commands to this. So let's go take a look at the code that runs on the Pi that receives those commands first. The first thing we want to do is we want to define a command. A command is simply a class that derives from the iMeadow command interface. It can have any data that you want in it. Generally speaking, you want these to be native types, ints, doubles, strings are fine too. I would avoid putting objects in here because then when you have to deserialize it on the device, that can be slow. The iMeadow command, you'll see, is a very simple interface. It's just empty. The device uses this as effectively a flag to know what types to look for when it's deserializing these as they come in. The next thing we need to make sure that we can receive these commands is to actually turn on reception. So in my app config, I have to turn Meadow Cloud's enabled property to true. That's really the only thing we have to do. This will turn on a service inside the device that will reach out to the Meadow Cloud as soon as it's connected to a network. Once we have our connection defined and we have a command defined, all we have to do is subscribe to commands from the cloud and tell it what type that those commands are going to be. The command service is in the resolver, which is a static class. So we just do resolver command service. Then I'm going to call subscribe and tell it the type of the command that I'm expecting to receive. When we send a command to the device, either through the Meadow Cloud web interface or through an API running on an application somewhere, this is going to get called. This can be device specific or group specific, so you can group a bunch of devices and send a single command to all of them. Again, we give it the type that we are going to receive, and it's going to pass in an instance of that. In this case, what I'm going to do is this command simply has an integer value. Again, it can have other types of things in it, but just for demonstration, I'm going to have an integer value, and then this integer value, I'm going to, if the number is greater than 100, I'm going to call the display service and tell it to show one type of an emoji. If it's greater than 50, it'll show another, and if it's less than 50, it's going to show no emoji. If we go over and take a look at this, it's really, really simple. We're just going to load a bitmap resource and put it onto an image that is centered on this display. So let's go take a look at how that works. I'm going to build the application. Then I'm going to use SCP to transfer the application to the device. Now, you don't have to use SCP. There are debugging tools that I can connect direct from Visual Studio to the device. I didn't want to set that up and show that. Just going with simple for now. I've copied it over. The application is here, and I can run it. Now let's take a look at the device. You can see that it has connected to the MQTT broker in cloud, and it has subscribed to this command. Don't worry about the command ID. This is our device ID. The point here is you can see it has connected successfully to the cloud and is now listening for commands. Now we can go over to the Meadow Cloud interface. And here we'll select our device. And then we're going to send it a command. By default, it just gives you this sample. What we want here is we want to send a command that the name of the command matches our class. If your command ends with the text command as a suffix, you can actually omit that, so I can either use set emoji or set emoji command here. You can see that our command is just an integer with the name value. And based on our code, we take a look, it had 100 or greater than 100 shows the laughing emoji, greater than 50 is happy, and anything else, so under 50 and below would be none. So we're going to start with something in the mid-range. We'll start with 75. And then if I send the command, you can see over in the console that it did receive the command, and the value is 75. And here on the device, we got the smile emoji. If I change the value here to say 150, send that command. The icon changed, and then I can send it something below 50, and it goes away. You can see that if you need to send a command to a target device, Meadow Cloud makes it very, very easy. There's very little code that has to be done on the target device, and if you need to send it from an application, sending it is just as easy. In this case, I just use the web API. It's a very good tool for testing out the commands. If you need to send a command from an application, it's really just as easy. You just create a class, connect to the cloud, and then send the command. You don't have to worry about the connectivity pieces. You don't have to worry about the security pieces. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching.